We're about to make some Boston butt, sweet heat, Reaper pulled pork sandwiches. They're gonna be sweet and they're gonna be real hot. And I've made these a whole bunch of times and now I'm making a tutorial video on it. And I'm also gonna be making a turkey, which I've never done the same way. When making pulled pork, there's really basically 3 steps. The first step is to trim your meat, which we're about to do. The second step is brining it. And then the third step is cooking it. Pork shoulder Boston butt roast. I got this from Publix. It's 7 pounds and it was $13.87. A nice amount of meat for a pretty cheap price. Cannot complain about that. The only reason that I got this turkey here, it's a young turkey. It was only $5.33. So maybe it's not turkey season. Maybe people don't buy turkey around this time of the year. It's March, so good deals on turkey. Never smoked a turkey, so I thought, hey, might as well give my viewers something I've never done before, in addition to something that I have done before. We'll take our meat out. You'll notice I'll flip it upside down here. You see all this white fat? We want to trim that off. Whoa there. Okay, intruder alert. Sorry, buddy. So this right here is some pork fat, and I'll just throw it on that plate. I'm actually going to use the pork fat. I put it in my crab traps for blue crabs and stone crabs, so I find a use for it. I think most people just throw it in the trash. Just cutting all the fat away. That's really looking pretty good. There's some fat on here, but it's okay. As long as your main big chunks of just pure fat are gone, then that is all right. If you bought a piece of meat that has skin on it, definitely cut the skin off of it and it'll be okay. I actually prefer my meat with bone in, so the bone is actually still in this. Yeah, you can see we got a big bone in here. One of the reasons I like to keep the bone in is because once it's done, the meat will just slide off the bone and it's kind of a cool presentation. I like to leave it in there. And I like to buy cuts of meat with the bone in it. I think that is just about done here. Looking good. Scooch that guy over here. Now, I'll be honest, I have never done this to a turkey before. I'm gonna do it exactly the same way as I did with a hog. I don't think there's anything to trim though on a turkey. Let's cut them open and find out. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of juices on this turkey. I'll just put that over there for now. Okay, step 1, trimming, check mark. Now let's move on to step 2, brining. The first step of brining is you want to make sure that your meat is completely submerged in the brine. So I'm going to fill this bucket here with enough water to where if I put the turkey and the Boston butt in it, they would both be submerged. So I'll probably fill it up to here with water. Bam, and there you have it. I got about 4 inches of water. It's filled up to about right here. I can see the water line, so just about that high. Now brine. Everyone's got their own way of doing brine. I read so many different things, but it's actually very basic. You just want salty water. At the end of the day, that's the most important part. My favorite way to make brine is 1 part salt and 1 part sugar. So if I put in 2 cups of salt, I'm gonna put in 2 cups of sugar. I like to use brown sugar and white sugar. So if I use 2 cups of salt, I'll use 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of white sugar. And I also don't measure anything. I always eyeball it. Take my salt and just generously start pouring it in there. I don't know if you guys noticed earlier I put an egg in here. Basically, I just keep adding salt until the egg floats. Let me show you. That there is a floating egg. And that is how you know you got a good level of salt. Perfect. So I added this entire thing of salt The egg is floating, so I know our salinity is a-okay. If I wanted to, I could just put the meat in right now and brine it, but I like to put some sugar in it. I think when I brine it in sugar, especially with brown sugar, it helps add to the smokiness and stickiness and lets the flavors stick to it. I'm just gonna eyeball it out. You really can't go wrong here. You also can't put too much, so if you're scared about not having enough brown sugar, just go and add a little more. This is light brown sugar, by the way, from Publix. We're in Florida, you know, we got Publixes on every corner. And then we got some Publix pure granulated sugar, and I'll add maybe about a cup of that. Perfect. And then we'll mix it up. So now we have a very brown looking water. That is sugary, salty, brown brine. Mmm. Mouse. Mouse. Hey, come here, buddy. Are you excited right now? Yeah, you love pulled pork, don't you? You love pulled pork. If you're following this recipe right now on your own, you're doing amazing. This is the easy part. We're just gonna take our meat and drop it into our brine. Just drop it on in there. And then also we're gonna take our turkey and we're just gonna drop that whole turkey in there. We're gonna take it out of the wrapping. What is that? It came with turkey gravy. Wow, what the heck? $5, you get a whole turkey and you get 2 packs of turkey gravy. That is a great deal. Although we're not gonna need that turkey gravy. There we go, that is our turkey. It looks like it doesn't have legs on it. It's just the breast part of it. Okay. Wow, that's looking good in there. Our turkey and our Boston butt pork is in the brine. You'll notice that they're floating on top, but you can push them down, and sometimes what I like to do is I'll put a plate on top of them just to keep them fully submerged. If you don't have a plate and they're floating like this, that's okay. I suggest maybe after 6 hours, you can just take it and flip it upside down. So the part that was exposed is now in the brine, just like that. We're gonna wanna brine this overnight. 12 to 24 hours generally is how long I like to brine it. What I'll do is I'll put this whole bucket in my fridge. Luckily, I have a man cave fridge over there dedicated for stuff like this. If you don't have room in your fridge for a 5-gallon bucket, I've done this before. Just put a bunch of ice on top of it, and the ice will keep it cold for at least 12 hours. Just as long as there's ice in it, no bacteria can grow. All that salt water in there, bacteria is not going to grow. It's going to be okay as long as it's at a cool temperature. If you live up north somewhere and it's snowing, you could probably even just put the bucket outside as long as the bear don't come. And I did want to mention one thing. If you haven't noticed, this is our very first tutorial video on Red, White, and Blue Outdoors YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and the like button. That would be awesome because I got a lot of tutorial videos on cooking, on fishing, on hunting. If there's a tutorial you want me to make, leave a comment below. Good night. Sleep tight. Okay, we got our meat up here in the kitchen now. And I know I said I was gonna brine it for, what did I say, 12 or 24 hours, but if you can tell, my face is a little sunburnt. Yeah, I had a fishing trip come up yesterday, so it's actually been brining for 36 hours now, which is totally fine. I've brined pork for 12 hours, for 24 hours, I did it once 48 hours, and it always turns out good. Not a problem, it is all good. Now we're gonna take them out, put them in these metal trays and dry them off. And then we're gonna season them. And then we're gonna smoke them. Roll up your sleeves for this one. We'll start with our Boston butt. The meat is a lot firmer. There we go. Oh yeah, that is looking good. Now what we wanna do is just pat the whole thing dry. Because when your Boston butt is dry, your seasonings will stick to it better. If it's wet, it's not gonna really stick to it. It's kind of gonna flow off of it and make a mess, and it won't be what you're looking for. You can see the bone is a lot more exposed now because when you brine it, all the salts kind of cause your meat to contract a little bit, which exposes the bone more because the bone obviously doesn't contract. There we go. A nice dry, really good looking piece of meat. Oh, hey there, Penny. How you doing, Penny? You know you're not supposed to be on the counter. Go on. Go play with a mouse or something. That's Penny, our cat, by the way. Voila! Ready for seasoning. But first, we can't forget about the turkey. And like I said before, I have never smoked a turkey before. That's gonna be completely experimental. But I'm gonna do it exactly how I do the pork. Dry it off, season it the same way. We're gonna smoke it the same way. And fingers crossed, I guess. Bam, and there we have it. We have our turkey dried off. We have our Boston butt dried off. I'm keeping in these pans, but when we go to smoke them, we're gonna take them out of these pans. But we're eventually gonna put them back in the pans. Penelope over here, I guess, wants to also go in the smoker, right? P, you're not supposed to be up here. You wanna go in the smoker? P, can you please? Please, thank you, P. So we've brined them, we've dried them, now we're gonna season them. And for seasoning, we're gonna give them a healthy coating of the red, white, and blue outdoors fish and game seasoning sweet heat. And after coating them nicely in the sweet heat, we're gonna coat them a little bit in the Reaper, depending how spicy you like it. I like it really spicy, and I'm trying to make some sweet heat Reaper pulled pork sandwiches, so I'm probably gonna give it a healthy dose of the Reaper also. Nice and spicy. And of course, we're actually gonna start by just giving the meat a nice topping of sea salt. This sea salt is kind of pretty grainy, pretty big grains. I'm not trying to go hard on the salt, but I am trying to give a little bit of saltiness to it all. Red, white, and blue outdoors, sweet heat. This is some of my favorite stuff. This is a brand new bottle. There we go. A beautiful, beautiful layer on top. One reason I like to season them inside of these pans is because we're actually going to end up, after smoking it, cooking it longer inside the pan with some apple juice. So any seasoning that falls in here isn't wasted. It's going to end up getting into the juices of your meat later on in the process. You don't have to feel bad about any seasoning that's not sticking to your meat. You're gonna want to cover every side. All exposed meat should in theory be seasoned. You can see how the seasoning is turning a little darker colored. That's the seasoning absorbing the moisture off the meat. And that's why you want to make sure you dry it, because if it's too wet, all your seasoning would just clump up and it would be a gooey mess. Almost done, last side here. That's looking good. Now for the fun part. Now I'm going to take some of the red, white, and blue outdoors, the Reaper, which is real nice and spicy, Carolina Reaper, and yes, there is a warning sign on it. I always say, add a healthy dose of the Reaper and you will live longer, even though that may seem contradictory. Holy smokes. That's looking good. This is probably my 20th time making a Boston butt, and I tell you what, I get just excited every time I make them. There's just something about these fat pieces of meat that's just so delicious. And time for the turkey. I'm gonna do the same exact thing with the turkey. I'm gonna use a little less Reaper on the turkey because I don't know how it's gonna react with the poultry. All right, they're seasoned. I think we need a slow motion of this. Oh. I got the Traeger set up outside. It doesn't matter what you're using to smoke, it's all about the temperature, but I'm gonna be using a Traeger. I am filling it up with cherry wood pellets. Cherry is one of my favorite pellets to smoke. Hog, chicken, pork. It's a very light and sweet smoke. It's not too overpowering like something like hickory. It's just a really easy wood to work with. If I was smoking fish, I would use something like alder wood. And then if I was making ribs or something, I'd probably use something stronger like mesquite or hickory. So the first step, I'm gonna fill my Traeger up with wood pellets. That ought to do the trick. I just turned the Traeger on the smoke setting, which is basically going to slowly trickle wood pellets into the Traeger and smoke them. It tends to keep the temperature below 170 degrees, and I don't want to go above 170 degrees. So no matter what smoker you're using, or if you're using a pit, whatever you're doing to smoke your meat, I try to keep my temperature at 170 degrees or lower. Because we're not really trying to cook the meat at this point, we're just trying to spend the next 5 or 6 hours smoking the meat. You could even have it at a really low temperature as long as smoke is going over your meat. This is where things are it's taken me a while to figure this out. Your first few times, if you're using a grill you've never used or a smoker you've never used, this is kind of the part where the temperatures might go too high, you might dry your meat out, or it might cook too fast and you don't get a good smoke ring on it. But I believe in you. I believe in you. Never give up when it comes to smoking meats. And it just started smoking. Look at that. We got some smoke coming out. Let's put on the meat. Yeah, we'll start with this yummy boy. Oh, holy Mac Daddy juice. Put it on the right side. Then our turkey, which I guess we'll smoke breast side down or up. I'll smoke it breast side down. That's probably wrong. Damn, that's looking good. The meat is on, and I'm gonna let it smoke for about the next 6 hours. Every hour I'll probably check it, check the temperature. The nice thing about the Traeger, it says the temperature right on the side, so I always know what it's cooking at. I always want to see a little bit of smoke coming out of it. And that's really all there is to it. Now you crack open a beer and spend the day watching your meat smoke. And I know I said you shouldn't let your temperatures go over 170. I really don't like it when my temperatures go anywhere up like around 190. I know some people smoke their meats at 200 to 220, but I'm a low and slow guy. I like to keep the temperatures lower and spend longer cooking it. I feel like there's less room for error. The meat ends up being more fall off the bone, melty in your mouth. Yeah, low and slow, baby. If you're in a hurry, go ahead and smoke it for 4 hours at 220, but this ain't a race. It ain't a race. It ain't a race. It's been 3 hours, been smoking real good. Let's take a look at it. Oh yeah. Chicken's gonna be done before the lost bone. Wait a second, I just called it a chicken. It's actually a turkey. But I'm a little worried the turkey's gonna dry out because there's not as much meat on that turkey as on the big fat Boston butt. What to do in this situation? I took the turkey off. Yeah, the turkey doesn't have too much meat on it. So I don't want it to dry out. So what I'm gonna do now is add some chicken broth. I put it in the aluminum pan that I seasoned it in earlier. I'm gonna take some chicken broth. Give a nice healthy dose of that. Probably put a little more in there. Ooh. Now I'm gonna wrap it in foil. Kablam! Wrapped up. We're gonna put it back in the smoker. Keep cooking it low and slow, baby. Oh yeah. Dang, look all that smoke. She's sitting pretty at 170. Oh, 169. Whoo, flashing me 169. God dang. It's gonna be good. All right, it's been 6 hours, so I'm gonna take that Boston butt on off of there. Damn. Oh, smokes. It's been 6 hours of smoking. There's a nice little crispies on here that I just want to chew off, but I'm resisting. Ooh, this is where I start to get excited. We're almost at the end. We're almost at the finish line. I put the Boston butt here in this aluminum tray like I did with the turkey. And instead of chicken broth, I love using apple juice on my wild hog. So I'm gonna use apple juice on this Boston butt. We're just gonna pour some in there. That way it can steam a bit in there and the moisture can get into the meat. Yeah, baby. Let's put her back in her favorite place, in the Traeger. Cranked up to 250. 250. The sun's starting to set and the turkey has been on slow cooking, wrapped in foil for I think 3.5, 4 hours now. So I'm gonna take the turkey off. The Boston butt still needs a couple hours. All right, our turkey. I have no idea what to expect, but I am, woo, it's hot. Wow, all that heat just escaped. Oh, the flavors. Oh. Oh, I need a close up of that. Wow. I want to take a fork bite. Okay, that looks interesting. This chicken. Why do I keep calling it chicken? This is clearly a turkey. I dunked it a little bit in that sauce that it's been sitting in. Look at this, these smoked crispies. Ooh, oh, it's so hot. Yeah, a little dunk in the juice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The meat down there is starts to get a little more moist on the underside there. Oh, come to daddy. The skin, that's top of line. When you dip it into the juice that it cooked in, the chicken broth, it adds a lot of juice right back into that. This skin is so crispy and black and flavorful. Oh, there's so much flavor in that. I'm about to eat a whole turkey by myself, and I don't even care. All right, this isn't a how to cook turkey episode, right? I like to experiment though. I'm trying to show you guys that it's okay to experiment with new foods, try new things. If it turns out a little dry, but the flavor is great, you know how to maybe fix it next time and you can keep getting better. I'm pretty confident in my Boston butt. It's officially pitch black outside. The Boston butt has been wrapped in foil for the last 4 hours. So it's been smoking 6 hours, wrapped in foil for 4 hours, 10 hours total. The turkey, I'm not gonna lie, I almost ate the whole turkey to myself already. Supposed to be saving that for dinner tomorrow, but it's always best when it's fresh, so you might as well eat all of it. Let's pull the Boston butt out. Oh yeah, baby. We ready for the grand availing? Availing? Is that the word? Tell you what, it smells amazing. Right. Looks good, it smells good. Now, oh my gosh, yes. That is pulled pork. That is pulled pork quality. This'll just, I can rip this apart with my fingers, but it's too hot, so I'm not going to, but. Wow. I'm a lucky guy to be trying this right now. I'm really glad y'all have been on this adventure with me, and really it all comes down to this bite. Oh, my finger is on fire. Whoo! It's hot. Oh man. This one I dipped in the juices. Oh, it's extra juicy. I'm falling over again. Ugh. Oh man, that Reaper. It took like 20-30 seconds for the heat to actually catch up to me. I love that when you eat it and you taste all the flavors and then you get to enjoy it and then the heat just kicks you there at the end. Sweet heat Reaper pulled pork sandwiches, baby. So there's a bone inside of this Boston butt. I want to see if I can pull that bone out. If the bone just comes right out, that's how you know that you're tasting heaven. Better pull my sleeves up for this one. Oh my God, look at that. There's the bone, look. Oh man, look at that meat just come right off the... Look at that smoke line too. Woo! Okay, it's too hot for me to touch, unfortunately. Look at this meat just falling apart. Like, look at this smoke line on this. Look at that smoke line. Woo! That red color. That's the smoke. Just, Look at this bone. This bone has come out perfect. I'm actually going to use this bone for a different video, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. The juices that it's sitting in, oh man, are so spicy and so full of flavor. It is so good. If you're a lover of the heats, you cannot go wrong. You could bottle this juice up right here and use that as your barbecue sauce on your pulled pork sandwiches. So let's go and make a pulled pork sandwich. Toasting up a bun here. Getting the inside a little crispy. Man, I've made myself a little bit of a mess. It's all gonna be worth it. Oh yeah, I like my bread a little crispy. Oh, sweet. Oh my. Have mercy on me. So normally the way that I prepare pulled pork, especially when we have a party, I have these pulled pork shredders. And basically you just shred the pork just like that. I'm just gonna shred a little bit for now. Okay. Oh, it just keeps getting better. You ever seen something so beautiful? And making a pulled pork sandwich is fairly simple. You just take your shredded pork and stack it on. General rule of thumb is the more pork, the better. So I try to use a lot. When you ask yourself, is there enough pork on there? Just remind yourself, the more the better. And then put on a little more. Oh, yeah, that was a nice, yeah, baby. Okay. And now put on your favorite barbecue sauce. One of my favorite barbecue sauces to use for pulled pork sandwiches is like a tangy Carolina Gold. I love Carolina Gold sauce. But this is actually my first time trying this. I heard that if you use the juices right out of the cooking, this right here makes an excellent barbecue sauce. You just top it on right on top. It's an extremely flavorful and spicy sauce. Ay Cariba. That's looking pretty good. Let's see what happens. Oh, the bread soaked up the sauce. The top is still crunchy. The bottom of the bread it's still crisp, but it's soaked in all those flavors. I might cry. You almost don't need a barbecue sauce because it's already so juicy. If you want to impress your family, you should go and follow this video, try to do it yourself, and see what you come up with. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Yes! It wasn't spicy for like the first half of the sandwich, and now the spice is catching up with me. I love that. I love that. Yes, punish me. Punish me, Reaper. If this is one of the first Red, White, and Blue Outdoors videos you've seen here on YouTube, consider hitting the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And if you want to support the channel, you can head over to rwboutdoors.com. We got our own camo patterns. We got fish patterns. We got a whole bunch of fishing rigs and gear. So check it out, and we'll see you guys on the very next tutorial. Cheers.